Welcome back to the Cinnamon Effect. I'm Kimberly Hand, and today I'm here with Sonia Azad. Sonia is a two-time Emmy Award-winning health journalist, global yoga retreat leader, and wellness influencer based in Dallas, Texas. She's been in TV for over 20 years. You started your wellness company in 2023 to focus on corporate wellness and yoga retreats, and that's actually how we met each other. And I'm so excited to have you here today because Sonia and I discovered you through your wellness retreat. What year was that? I was thinking it was summer of 2022.
2022. Yeah.
Yeah, summer of 2022. And since then, I've done, I've done two retreats with you, and I'm on my way to do my third one with you, which is going to be in Switzerland. And I'm so incredibly excited about that.
Yeah. I've loved getting to know you through all these different avenues. And I feel like right when we met, it was instant connection. And in Montana, you had quite the journey getting there. So just getting to know and witness and watch you go from that person, that place to like where you are now is incredible.
Oh my gosh, we have to recap the Montana trip. I had actually done it's funny. Okay, so I'll backtrack because my husband has a lot of interest in a lot of hobbies, and he's always kind of doing hunting trips or fishing trips, and he's doing all these things, right? And I started to get a little resentful, I think, of his time away. And he said, "Well, Kimberly, why don't you just plan something? Why don't you just figure out what you want to do and plan it?" So I didn't want to just do anything random. I wanted to put some thought into it. So I started researching wellness retreats, and I'm just kind of Googling and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do yoga in the mountains? I just got this idea. I'm from Florida. I want to go somewhere cooler in the summertime. That was kind of the time frame I was looking to do it. And I found Feathered Pipe Ranch, which is where this yoga retreat was. Now, I remember going on their site and kind of looking at the different instructors. And honestly, I don't remember seeing you the first time, which I think is funny because I looked at everything and then I took a step back and I thought about it. And I'm not one to make a decision right off the bat. So I came back to it the next day or, a couple days later. And I remember seeing you and reading your bio, and you were a former dancer and all the things. You were in TV and all these things about you. And I thought, this is it. And this is who I want to be with. And this is what I want to do. But it was kind of a risk because I was going to do it alone. It
Mhm.
was almost a 10-day trip, right? I got to Montana. I ended up having some extra time, so I went on a hike prior to coming to the yoga retreat, and I got a flat tire at the trailhead in the middle of nowhere. It took 4 hours for AAA. I don't know if it was AAA. I guess it's AAA in Montana, but for them to come get me and change my tire and all of that. So I ended up being late to the retreat.
Yeah, this is before anything started. So you didn't know anyone. We didn't know to check in on you. Like we were just like, okay. Yeah.
Where's this girl? Is she
Yeah.
coming? Yeah. But I remember when I got there, you were so just here. I was frazzled. I was nervous because I was there by myself. I had also kind of been through this kind of crazy experience. And I thought, oh my God, is that a sign that I shouldn't be here? That's immediately
Mhm.
my mind went there. And you were like, hello, come in. And you welcomed
Welcome.
me. I know you welcomed me with open arms. And it ended up being one of the best experiences of my life. I mean, just going and chance of taking that chance on myself and giving myself that time to breathe, after being a new mom and kind of just, sinking into motherhood and all of the challenges and everything. I really needed that time to catch my breath. And you you shaped my idea of wellness and self-care and all of that, from that moment on. It really did shift a lot of things for me. And a
Mm.
plug for you, The Shift is the name of your podcast,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. We're always shifting. So I'm like, that's how that relates.
Yeah, and you really did. You shifted that for me. So now I get to tell you thank you. I have you here and we've been talking about you coming on for a while. So I'm so glad you're on the podcast today.
Oh, no, thank you. I know we have been talking about this for a long time, and we have all of this overlap and intersection of uh, not just wellness, but interest. When you told me about your feng shui background, I'm like, ooh, this is interesting, right? And so
Yes.
I love how dynamic you are and how courageous you are and how versatile your life has become really since I met you. Yeah, it's
It's
amazing.
well, this is not about me. This is about you. So
I'm
you
like,
were I know you were in TV for a long, long time. And then
yeah,
you took this leap of faith to do retreats full time and travel the world.
yeah.
So talk about that because I know that was actually when we met each other. You were kind of making this decision
Yeah, I
to
actually
shift
made
some
the
things.
decision on that Montana trip. So it was transformational for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, to your point earlier, I'm like, why am I not very good about talking about myself? I'm like, let's talk about you more.
No. Well, that's your background, you
I know,
know?
right? I'm used to asking the questions. Yeah, so in Montana, I just remember having this feeling. We did this beautiful hike on the property, and I'm just like looking out, and my friend Katya took a picture of me, and I looked at that photo, and I was like, that's the real me. Sometimes in TV news, and I'd done it for so long, full time, you're just like, I am so sick of gluing eyelashes on my face at 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that
Mm.
is the truth, right? But it's part of it. So, I got into journalism a long time ago. And my interest in journalism was really born as a child watching my parents watch the Persian Gulf War unfold. So I
Mm.
was watching my parents watch television, and I'm seeing these reporters, and I'm like, if those people weren't there in that place, how would we know the truth about what's going on? I want to do that. I want to go there. So I'm like 10 years old wanting to be a war correspondent, which I think is like kind of funny in a way, like
Interesting. Yeah, interesting goal at that time.
interesting goal as a child. Um, and then, goals change, and so yeah, I ended up as a crime reporter for 12 years, and then I was kind of like wanting to shift gears a little bit and cover legal issues and the law. And so I did that for a bit in the Netherlands. I covered immigration in San Diego. And so bounced around a little bit and ended up back in Texas, not part of the plan, but well, not part of my plan, but part of a plan.
Yeah.
um, but, and I assume we'll talk about this sweet spot of life. But it was really when I came back from my 40th birthday. I always take a big trip for New Year and for my birthday, and which are like 6 months ish apart. And it was like I came back, and usually you come back from vacation refreshed and ready to take on a new week and whatever. And it's like every time I came back, I was just like, I do not feel refreshed. I do not feel I feel like a robot when I come back. What is wrong with me?
Mm.
Why don't I have the passion for what I'm doing, which is a great job? Like, I actually loved my job, but
Mm.
energetically, something was like, it was so hard to get up. It was so hard to get going. Um, and that's not me. Like, so when you met me at that yoga retreat, a lot of the women said, look, you're really good on TV and we watch you, and that's how we got to know you. But you in a room like this is your calling. This is, to your point, and to use your word, impactful. And this is life changing. And like,
Yes.
this is what you're meant to do. So really, it was the people around me who were affirming what I was already feeling, and to hear it from other people, because other people are your mirrors, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay. So I came back and I quit my job. Literally what
Just
happened.
like that.
I was like, well, I said it was a really hard decision. It was hard because I didn't want to, number one, disappoint people who I worked for, because
Mhm.
they gave me this great opportunity. And from the outside looking in, for most people, they're like, you have literally the best job in America, like you
Yeah,
get to
dream
cover,
job.
yes, health and wellness, Monday through Friday, you're in studio. Yeah, I mean, just in a top market in the country, like you can't really ask for more than that. I was in the industry, earlier on. And so my pay was good. Like everything was good. Vacation time
Yeah.
was good. I really didn't have anything to complain about. But I think there's something that starts to happen in our brains, when we're in 40, 41, 42, and you're like thinking more along the lines of purpose. And
Mhm.
that's what I was feeling, that I didn't know what words to put to it or how to connect it. But that was the difference for me, is like I was talking to people through screens, but and maybe I had a wider, audience reach, but now I'm in rooms with people and it just feels amazing. Yeah, so much
Yeah.
better.
Well, that's an interesting point, is that, something can be great and it could be someone's dream position, right? But it can not be right for you. And so, how do you do that soul searching? I mean, I think for you, when you did get in the room with everyone, I mean, there were what, like 40 or 50 of us in
There
that
were
room in Montana?
35 in that group,
35.
yeah,
Okay.
which is a little more than I like to do, but I was like, well, we have capacity. So, but it was a great group of people,
It was magical. It
right?
really was. It was magical. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first
Um,
day you did that opening circle and we all went around the room. And here, I wasn't really expecting um to feel emotional, or I wasn't really feeling like I had so much to like work through kind of thing.
right.
I just was going, I needed a break. I needed some quiet time. I need some me time. And the first person opens their mouth in that circle and starts saying why they're here and what their intention is. And I mean, we were all crying
I know.
with
Well,
tears. Yeah.
here's the thing, and this happens all the time. So it's common. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to actually reflect, or as Mel Robbins would call it, audit
Hmm.
our here and now. So if you don't know your starting point, you don't know how you got here, but you want to set all these goals and you want to do all these things, it's sort of like you're moving and you've got this momentum, but without direction, truly. And
Yeah.
so when you sit in an opening circle or a closing circle and you're allowing people the opportunity to speak, like, and my style, it's like we're using eye contact. We want to make sure people are feeling heard, they're feeling seen, they're feeling supported. This is a non-judgmental environment. You can say whatever you want. This is a safe space. Like what happens in the circle stays in the circle. So people really do share. And I think that's also reflective of the fact that a lot of people don't feel like they're able to do that in their everyday lives.
Hmm.
And like feeling like, well, people don't really care what I have to say, people don't have the time to hear me unpack what's going on in my life. Or, this is a big thing, I think, with women in their 40s. Like, if I don't have kids, then my friends who have children think, oh, well, she doesn't want to hear about all this. And I think, well, they don't want to hear about dating apps. They've been married for 20 years. They don't care, or whatever it is.
Yes. Yes.
So the relatability, kind of piece comes into play. But I think in those circles and on those retreats, it's like you kind of leave behind all of the stories that make you you in your everyday life. And you get to meet these people for the first time, and you almost don't care what
Yeah.
you share or say, because some people go, well, I feel more open or comfortable because I may never see these people again. And then
Hmm.
like other people go, well, there's a joint or common interest here, and so we're all here for introspection, self-development, self-care. And so I feel immediately kind of safe to share.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, those opening and closing circles, I stand by them. I love them. I know it's hard for some people to speak. And, I think also just giving people the opportunity to like share from a place of compassion, empathy, and to use their voice, to hear their voice. It's so important.
Yeah, I think a lot of people too think yoga retreat you have to be good at yoga to be there. And that was definitely, and even I did, and I have practiced yoga since I was 18 off and on, and I thought, "Oh, am I like good enough to go?" And no, it's not about that at all. And you
Right.
actually had women that were in their 20s all the way up until their 60s, right? Or even did you have someone that was 70?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And that was, like you said, just such an amazing experience to hear different people's their life experience. And, there was a woman who was grieving the loss of her husband, and people are grieving relationships, or they're, like me, working through being a new mom, and, all these different life phases. And we were all able to connect and really be there, hold space. You held space for all of us, of course, but we were able to connect on these different levels. And yes, the woman who's 70 is able to give advice to the younger women, and it was really such a cool and special experience. Can't forget there were men there too,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
was
yeah.
special as well. And yeah, one of the exercises that you did that made me the most uncomfortable, but I realized that I needed it the most, was the one where we stared into each other's eyes. The
The
eye
eye gazing.
contact one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was like crazy. So why is that something that you include in your retreats?
So there's a lot of aspects to mindfulness that include opening the senses, I'll just say, because, well, and the reason I love them is because it puts you absolutely in the present moment, and you
Mhm.
can't dodge anything when you're either eye to eye with someone. The other exercise that we did was mindful eating, where we peeled an orange or a
Oh
tangerine,
yeah.
something like that, right? And so you can't speak, but just how does it smell? What is the first taste that hits your tongue? Where do you feel it? So, mindfulness is such a trendy kind of buzzword, but it means a lot more than wearing cute athleisure and going to a yoga class, right? So we do these exercises so that we can incorporate, so that we can have the awareness that you are experiencing, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, this makes me uncomfortable. You are finding this courage to be like, I'm going to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, and I may not like it, but that's okay. I'm still doing it. And
Mhm.
then you go out back into your real world, at real life, and say there's something else that makes you feel uncomfortable. Your brain goes, I've been uncomfortable before. I'm going to be resilient in this moment, and I'm going to pull from what I already know and have experienced. I'm going to utilize that now. So it's brain training, all of it, right? So that, and it's the same with meditation. We did a lot of meditation on that retreat. People always say to me, "Ugh, I'm not patient enough to meditate." I'm like, that's why it's good for you to sit, so that you're
Yeah.
not impulsively doing things, right? And or eating things, or we do so much based on impulse, and mindlessly, that we're not aware of. And so, to kind of like bring it all together, these are ways to cultivate mindfulness, but you're just doing it in several different forms or aspects.
Yeah, the woman that I was across from was particularly stone cold face. She was a former judge. You know what I'm
Oh, I
talking
know
about?
who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was awesome, but it was such a great exercise for me to do as like a people pleaser. Remember, we couldn't smile either, I think was a rule. We had to
Yeah,
just,
because smiling, laughing, all that stuff is like a kind of a nervous response for people.
and I realized that I was doing that. I was
Uh,
also thinking about, I want her to like me. I remember thinking like, I want her to like me. And
and
what
then
does
you're
that
like,
matter?
why?
I
Right?
know, like,
Yeah.
why? Yeah. Why did I feel the need? But, so that was such an interesting exercise.
Yeah. I mean, and this is what I wasn't able to do through TV screens, right?
Mhm.
So, like, we were there for, I think it was 7 or 8 days. And really, I mean, I used to say I've been leading retreats since 2016. I used to say I will never do a retreat shorter than a week because you
Mm,
need that time to, first of all, settle, ground yourself, get accustomed to like a new set of habits, patterns, rituals, and then like really it all starts to come together for you. Um, the second retreat you came on with me was like 4 days or something. And didn't it feel like it
yes.
just flew by? You're sort of like, I mean, that was fun, but oh my gosh, that was so fast.
Yes, it was fast. It was great. That's what I needed at that time too. I
Mhm.
couldn't really break away for as much time. So I think they both have their place and their value. And I think you do kind of like a blend of that now, right? Some shorter and some longer. But the
Yeah, I
longer
do.
ones are just great.
The longer ones are where it's at. Yeah. I mean, I had some people last year come to I did one at a winery, which again, this is one of those things. It's like never say never. I was like, I am never serving alcohol at. Okay, well, the truth is that if you go to a winery, people are going to want wine and it's okay. And just, some people want that and some people
Yeah.
want to meditate in the mountains in Switzerland at an
Yeah.
intentional Buddhist
Me.
community. So we'll do a little bit of that too. Yeah.
I am nervous because part of the Switzerland retreat has a silent component to it. And
Mhm.
that is something, again, that will challenge me and take me out of my comfort zone, which I'm excited for. You, on the other hand, you've done some silent retreats. Can you talk about that? Because I find that really fascinating.
Yeah. So just to ease your mind, I think like the meals are silent
Okay.
for you in Switzerland. And then there's silence in the evenings, meaning like it's just kind of quiet hours, but I'm pretty sure you'll be fine.
Okay.
The Vipassana courses that I've done are 10 days of silence, but those are really strict. I mean, this is a specific form of meditation. So there's no reading, no writing, no speaking, actually no eye contact. So this is the opposite of connecting with others. This is totally connecting with yourself. And you have people are like, okay, well, then what do you do all day? You have a
Yeah.
pretty strict schedule. The first sort of wake up bell chimes at 4 or 4:30 in the morning.
Oh,
And
wow.
so you're sitting in meditation. It's like, here's an hour, then you go to breakfast where you eat in silence. And then here's another hour, hour and a half of meditation. And then you have lunch. And then here's another, maybe you get a break where you can walk, you can't exercise. Honestly, you don't really feel like exercising either. Some people say or ask, can you do yoga? The answer truly is no. But if you need to stretch and stuff like that in your room, you can. Um, and the reason why is we're eliminating all distractions. So
Mm-hmm.
when you rid yourself of literally almost everything except for your thoughts, your breath, your sensations, like what is left? And I can't say enough about the impact of this experience for me because it changed how I look at life. It changed how I see people, approach people. Um,
How so? I'm so interested. Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when you come out of a Vipassana, you realize how fast things are moving. You realize that people really don't listen as well as you
Mm.
might like them to. A lot of people are multitasking, and I know people think that they're really good at multitasking, but the reality is the brain isn't equipped to do that. And I love quoting the Alzheimer's Association says, multitasking is like cigarette smoking for your brain. And
Oh.
right,
I'm like, hold up.
when I heard that, this is years ago, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm just doing one thing at a time. Um,
Yeah.
I love silence and I loved it before, but I have a deep appreciation for serenity, like peace, calmness, whether that means, how I wake up in the morning. Um, Usually there's like layers of noise. If you go to work in a coffee shop or something, you hear white noise, you hear music, you hear the espresso machine, there's just all
Yes.
stuff. And like in my home, I'm like, actually, this is really peaceful. I get a lot done. It is, I worked in TV for 20 years. I haven't turned on my TV in months, probably. Right. And it's not to say I don't listen to or absorb news through podcasts and other
Yeah,
avenues,
of
but
course.
limiting how much input you receive is another thing. I mean, it's just everything changed for me. I'm like, do I need to know every little thing about every little thing? No.
No,
Do I need to
no.
speak and say every word that comes out of my mouth? No, I could probably chop everything in half and just listen,
How
you know.
did you bring that back? So, like, what's one thing that you adjusted in your everyday life that you took from that silent retreat?
Um, the first thing I think of is kind of just how I am overall, like how
Mm.
I am with people, am with like as I kind of float through the day. Something more specific is the word trust and faith come to mind,
Mm.
words.
Mhm.
And knowing that like I don't have control of everything and that's okay. And to trust that I will be supported and things will happen just as they should. And
Yeah.
you might go, well, why do you have to be silent for 10 days and totally like remove yourself from everything to receive that message? Like, yeah, I know that. And you can intellectually know something, but then you can live that out. Uh,
Yes.
so if I'm not booked for a gig or a job or whatever for a month, I trust that in due time I will be booked again and people will call and they'll come back and they'll need something and I will be supported. Whereas, maybe before I'd be like ruminating, freaking out. This is an overwhelming thought. Oh my gosh, it was so stupid to leave my job. Why did I do this?
Mm.
So
Mhm.
a lot of what I'm describing is internal, but what's happening internally is showing up externally for
Yeah.
everyone around you, like you've got children, spouses, coworkers, um, cohabitants, I want to say. I live in an apartment building. So people are always coming and going. And, um, if we believe in energy and how we feel and receive people's energy, it's like, I, when I come back from Vipassana, people are always like, you are like floating. I'm like, I know.
What I know. I love you
I
gave me that
know.
start.
I
Yeah.
am. I literally am. Um,
How many times have you done it? How many?
Twice.
Okay. And
Um,
you go somewhere, where did you
yes.
go?
Yeah, it's actually a course. These are
Oh,
free.
okay.
So it's not like a retreat in the way that I lead retreats. It's 2 meals a day, everything's vegetarian, you don't eat after 5 p.m. But again, you're not hungry because your output is not a lot um
Mhm.
physically. And people do leave because they can't get through it because it's a lot on the mind.
Mm.
And I've written articles about this. It's not truly probably for everyone. It sort of depends on what's going on in your personal life, your interpersonal relationships. Like if you are going through something really major, I probably would not recommend it until you feel
Mhm.
a little more settled and ready to be with your thoughts because that's your companion. You are your own companion for 10 full days. I mean, they take your phone, but these retreat centers are bare bones. You have
Mhm.
your own room and bathroom. You take your sheets, your pillows, everything. And I usually pack like 5 outfits and just rewear like whatever.
Mhm.
And so I guess that is the other thing that I took away is just simplicity. Like I don't
Yes.
really need a whole lot. I talk about abundance a lot, but there's such beauty in simplicity. And I would say like a pretty minimalist type
Yeah.
person. I've downsized since I left my job, but like the simplicity of when you're in Vipassana and you see people who volunteer at these centers and who live, I mean, they really like live this life almost like monks in a cave. Um, you're like, they're supported. They have everything they need. They're,
Yes.
they're not out here hustle and grinding to try to climb a ladder or to achieve or to strive or to thrive or to what. They're just humans having a human experience. Like there's something so
Yeah.
beautiful about that. Um,
Absolutely. I think
yeah,
that's a great point, the abundance mindset, because I believe that as well. And I believe that's so important to know that everything is there for you. There's no lack in any situation, right? So that abundance mindset. But on the flip side is kind of I feel like I'm like you. I love thinking that I can have everything or everything is there for me, but do I really need all of that? Do I really need everything? So I
yeah.
love that experience kind of you basically stripped everything away from yourself and then you get to decide afterward how you add it back in,
Mhm.
right? Like
Yeah.
you say, well, I was gone for, 7 days and I didn't need that. So maybe I don't need that now in my everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there starts to what comes from that is like generosity. You're like, you know what? I don't need these things. Do you need these things to whomever is in your life, right? Like whether you donate some things or give some stuff away to your friends who might like it. And, you
Mhm.
just start to shed some of the stuff that's weighing you down. And I think we're so attached as a society to things. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like I love beautiful things. I
Mhm.
love to look at them. I'm not a shopper. I never have really been.
Mm.
I'm not like I don't collect a lot of things, although you probably see on my walls. The art is the one thing that I
Love
love.
the art.
The
Yeah.
art is from different places I've visited. So that to me is like really meaningful because I get to walk in my space and I've brought back, pieces of the world that I can still have close by. And I love that. So but this is it. What you see is pretty much it. I mean, I came all the way down to a 700 square foot apartment, which is tiny. And I did think for a while, is this a mistake? This is so silly. But I really don't need a lot more space.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the simplification was huge, I think, for me. And it continues to be because I think there are other ways I could still probably simplify, although my friends are probably like, Sonia, you literally like, please don't get rid of anything else.
But once you start doing it, you're so good at editing what you need. I
Yes.
feel like I'm like that because I'm constantly editing and I don't want not one extra thing that like shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, I had a question on the top of my head and I just lost it. I want to talk about your traveling because
Oh,
you've
yeah.
been to like almost every country in the world and and you do a lot of it alone. And you were in Thailand over the summer, Cambodia, Vietnam, and you were alone for most of that.
So
Am I
I
right?
have
Or
done parts of Thailand alone. Cambodia was part of a retreat, and Vietnam partially was part of a retreat. And then I continued on through Vietnam by myself and Laos. But yes, girl, I travel alone all the
you're all
time.
over the place.
I love it. I love it. I do. And I'm not saying I don't love traveling with there's two girlfriends in particular and they know who they are. Um and we travel well together. And we've been to like the Arctic Circle and Bora Bora because we're at the stage in our lives also where we're like, we're not going to wait to get married to go to Bora Bora. Like, I'm not waiting for a honeymoon. I just want to go there now. Okay,
I
so
love it.
here
I
we
love
go.
it.
But there's a special beauty when it comes to traveling alone where we talked about your courage in taking that step and coming to the retreat alone, knowing that you would have a group there waiting for you, who would support you, take care of you. But like for me, I mean, golly, the best and one of the most recent examples is just going to Laos. And when I landed, I didn't even have a hotel.
Oh my
It's like,
gosh.
yeah, I just like got on Wi-Fi at the airport. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. But you sort of meet people along the way. You get to interact with locals. I don't do things like in a, I'd say, unintelligent way, right? Like I'm not going out and drinking and going to bars and it's, late at night. I'm not doing anything stupid. I'll just say it that way.
Yeah.
So I'm very mindful, but also I have this now kind of like a street smarts awareness of how to, when my radar is saying, yes, this feels okay, and no, I think this feels shady. Um, I trust people innately when I'm traveling. I think there's a lot of fear, especially amongst Americans, when they talk about going outside of this country. Like, oh, well, we don't know what's going on over there. This is scary or that. Even people in my family, they're like, you're insane. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Um, but I have found the exact opposite to be true. So many helpful people, so many kind people, so many like generous people. I mean, if you need to charge your phone, if you get lost, if you don't speak the language. I've gotten stuck in transit strikes in West Africa. I've gotten, oh my gosh, I was almost about to have to sleep overnight at a train station in like Brussels. I have stories, and you would think, these people who were helping me, who happened to be men at the time, and you're just kind of like, shoot, I'm stuck. This is before iPhones and all of that. And like, should I do this? Should I go with him? Should I trust him? Not once did anyone try to take advantage of me, and that could be maybe how I'm carrying myself, or I just got lucky, or whatever the case was. But in every turn, I just found the most beautiful people all over the world.
Maybe you
So
attracted that to yourself. Like
yeah,
you can be scared and be fearful, and maybe you attract that energy or that experience to you. But I do see you as being very like self-assured, and you're going to be okay. But
totally.
maybe your
And
news
again,
background kind of, covering crime, I would think you
yes.
have an idea when something's not right.
You have that instinct, right? And then you also and the intuition, but also like carrying that out. So if something doesn't feel right, nah, I'm not going to do that. But when I'm in India and I don't speak the language and I really want to see the Taj Mahal and the trains are full, so like I hire this guy, I don't know where he's taking me, but I hope that he's going to take me to the Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he did. So like I'm not from India. Like I don't know which road he's supposed to take for, when or how to get there. But these are examples of like I think people are innately good. And I think that to trust them and to love people, it's like not an easy thing sometimes, especially having come from the world of crime, where you're like, how can these bad things, these terrible things, these unthinkable things exist in our world? And, I've even had friends say, you're absolutely spiritually bypassing everything else that's going on. And I'm like, no, I am
Mm.
fully aware of what's happening over here. And at the same time, again, we talk about being present in my life right now. What is true for me is this, not without compassion, not without empathy, not without, but I can't solve all the problems around me. What I can do is show up for the people who are in my immediate orbit and to show up lovingly with kindness, to lend an ear to people who need to listen. Like, I think there's a lot in that we're kind of like discrediting sometimes, because all it takes is a little bit, and over time, you'll see the ripple effect or the domino effect of love, kindness, support, empathy, compassion. And when you give people a sense of peace, I think that's the greatest gift, right? Because
Yeah.
then they offer that to someone else. And they also say, oh, that feels good to me. I want to be this version of myself, whether you call it the best version of yourself or not. Okay, I like this. I'm going to
Mhm.
now. So now you've planted a seed in someone else. And this is how we start to make really dynamic shifts in our world.
Yes. you lead with that love and compassion, and you do lend an ear for everyone in your circle. I definitely want to talk about your Facebook group that you have, Fitter Together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, talk about that because
I
you're
love this group. Yeah. So Fitter Together, I started in 2018, and it was just a way to basically follow four people who are going to undertake like a fitness challenge. So I partnered with, I think Orange Theory was our first partner. And then we partnered with F45. And so we would just follow these people doing challenges, different kinds of challenges. And then COVID hit, and no one could, go work out in the same ways traditionally that they were doing. So we took all of the challenges online, and I partnered with Dr. Jennifer Ashton, who wrote the Self-Care Solution. And so we all did her challenge, which was a full year. So 1 month, one challenge. So January was dry January, February was planks and push-ups daily, March was daily meditation. And the group was loving it. So we have like 8,300 people in the group right now, and it's mostly women, mostly ages like 40, 50, 60s. We do have some 70s in there as well. Um, and this is just like a free accountability group. Some people who want advice when it comes to nutrition but aren't sure where to turn, advice as it relates to fitness, yoga, meditation, mindset. And so, yeah, it's been really fun. We share our struggles, we share our successes. I have some like experts in the group as well, some coaches. In February, we're reading. So I didn't mean to turn this into a book club, but we we read a book last month, and everyone loved it. It was about fitness transformation, sustained fitness transformation. And I've been getting a ton of questions about perimenopause and menopause. So Dr. Jessica Shepard is like a leading OBGYN across the country, and she has written a book called Generation M, and
Mm.
her book is all about perimenopause and menopause. And so we're going to be reading that book this month and following along. She's doing like live chat. So I try to use that group just to connect people with the best possible experts, to help support them on their wellness or fitness journey.
I'm interested to know more about this, the perimenopause, the dreaded term. Are we in it? Are we not in it yet?
Oh no,
Like,
girl, we're in it. We're
we're in
in
it.
it. We
In
are
our
fully in
40s,
it.
we're in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're in it. And like, I never had like problematic cycles or anything like that, but you just start to go, I don't, did that mood swing? I am so sorry. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Like, that's not me. That doesn't sound like me. That doesn't seem like me. So, and there's actually a docu-series film that I was lucky enough to go to like the premiere for. They're popping up all over the country, but it's these two monks, well, nuns,
Oh.
they're
Uh-huh.
women, and they're in their 40s, and they are taking us along their perimenopause journey. And I was like, wait a second, what? But it makes perfect sense. They're like, we have renounced, like they're all the way nuns, right? So they have renounced life as we know it.
Yeah.
They're not doing the grind, yet they still found themselves going through some of these symptoms. And so they're like, we live the most peaceful life ever. So this must mean that there's something biological, physiological, that we need to kind of unravel. And so to their credit, and it's a beautiful, I saw only one episode. They're still kind of finishing things up, but oh, it's so great. And it is real. They put it is real to everything we're feeling.
Ah, that's I guess that's comforting. Like if they're gonna live
Yeah.
that way and still feel these things.
Yeah. They're like, I meditate, I mean, I've simplified my life. Like, what is wrong with me? But it's nothing that's wrong. I will say in the film, they relate a lot back to childhood trauma. They relate a lot back to, well, traumatic experiences, more kind of broadly, um, and things that haven't been resolved that kind of come back in a sense. or if they haven't been tied up, then they're still kind of lingering. And so there was a scientist, a researcher who was doing brain scans on these women, and she came to some really interesting questions. I won't say conclusions, but there were some really interesting conversations. One of the nuns is like a um she's former military.
Oh,
So
wow.
she had been deployed. Yeah. So just,
What is
you
that
know,
called again? This show?
oh my gosh, the pod. Oh, I will have to tell you because
Okay,
now
we
I'm
need to
like,
find that.
yes, 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 yes. Because right now I'm like, I can't remember.
It's okay. We'll figure it out and we'll
Figure it
we'll
out.
post it. We'll add it to the show
It
notes.
is so, yeah, it is so good. And I don't think it's fully out yet, but it's, it's really telling. And I think the fact that there were not just women in the audience, but there were men in the audience who were like, I want to know what women are going through. A lot of times people call this like a second puberty, where you're just
Oh my
like,
gosh.
whoa. But like it sort of feels like it's true. And then
Yeah.
menopause itself is just one day, so it's like when you can say that you've gone 12 months without a cycle, like that is the day, and then you're
Mm.
postmenopausal. A lot of people, at least people who I've talked to who are our age, don't know that or don't realize that yet. So I think it's good that there are people talking about this, writing about this, researching, and we've come a long way from knowing like hormone replacement therapy was, so bad. At least that's what we were taught. And
Yes.
now we know that that's not the case, right? And so really so much credit goes to this kind of group of women who are I don't want to say not even a generation older than us, but just like a decade or two older than us, who have said, we need to do what we need to do for the next cluster of women, and the service that they are really providing us with in terms of all of this wisdom is incredible.
More people are talking about it now, which is
Oh
which
yeah.
is awesome for us, and the generation below us, they will get even more information because now people are really diving into the experience, and so I do love that, to demystify this whole process. Why was there so much secrecy? I mean, it also it began, I feel like, for like me, I'll be 45 in May, and looking back on getting my period for the first time, and how it was kind of secret. Nobody really talked about it a lot, and just how that evolves, and you think it's this really bad thing. I had someone on my podcast way back in the beginning, Cree Cox, who talked about the different phases of your cycle, and how now they celebrate a woman's first period with like a party, and it's like this whole like completely different vibe. And so,
Mhm.
we can't just give up and not go through these phases. So let's celebrate them. Let's try to understand them better. Talk about them with our friends, our
Yeah.
other women friends that are going through this. Like, don't, the men in our lives, make sure they're educated, because that makes a difference. Like,
Well, it's huge, right? Because they're either going to potentially be fathers of girls. And so a lot of them do need to know this. And then also if they have a female spouse, like, yeah, that's going to be important for you to be able to support this woman and to understand it's not always going to be this. And so, yeah, the men in the audience were, again, to their credit, I wanted to applaud them. I was like, thank you
yeah.
for being here. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for caring about us. Yeah, it was a
Yes.
big deal. And yes, to your point, the education around this now is such a different vibe from the secrecy, we're going to whisper about this over here because it's dirty, it's bad, it's weird, it's shameful, it's whatever.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think, within the group and then with, outside of the group, like at these retreats, it's just when, I won't say all women because there are men in these groups, but when a community comes together, and is feeling safe enough to share really what's on their mind, on their heart, to ask the questions they're curious about, there's a lot of momentum behind that. Like, I think we can really that's how we evolve as a society, you know, learning from each other, kind of dovetailing as it relates to ideas and inspiration. And yeah, it's been incredible to watch the evolution of really all of it collectively, even in just the last maybe 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I bet you've learned so much through the process. But you were trained in yoga. You thousands of hours of yoga hours, 23 lineages of meditation.
Yeah.
You're leading these retreats. You're pushing the limit of your own spirituality and your own, wellness. What are some of the biggest takeaways for you, or what are some of the rituals that you do in your life? I mean, with the culmination of all of this information, what are some of the top things that you think are like non-negotiables that you have to do?
Oh, that's a great question. My non-negotiables are meditation every day. That's a must, at least
Mhm.
once a day.
About how much time are you meditating?
So ideally, and this is, you know, Vipassana is 1 hour in the morning and they say 1 hour at night. That does not always happen for me. But if I can do
Mhm.
30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, then I'm really well balanced. So
Mm.
I'll try to find 30 minutes in the middle of the day. Does it always happen? No. But to bookend my day with meditations, I'm an entirely different person. And if you don't believe me, like, let's do the experiment and you'll see. You
Try
know,
it. Just try
I'm
it. Yes,
I'm
I can attest to
just
that.
softer, you know, and I love being softer. Movement is the second one. So I've learned that in my now 40s, I don't need to go and do a hit class every single day. I don't need to push it that hard. I don't need to, you know, get a bazillion hours of cardio in. But I'm just doing what I love, intuitively moving. Is it a Pilates class? Is it a yoga class? Is it a Legree class? Is it hit training, you know, or whatever? So movement and meditation are the biggest ones. And then
Mhm.
also nourishment. So that could be, how am I eating? I like to cook for myself now as much as possible. It's hard for me to even say those words out loud because I'm like, people are not going to believe me. But I love having control over what I'm eating rather
Mhm.
than I used to, I mean, order out like almost every meal because I'm like, oh, it's just me. But
Yeah.
the control meaning, how much sodium am I taking in? How much protein am I actually getting? Where is the source of protein coming from? What oils are being used? Again, for me, these are things that really I can sense a difference. Um,
Yeah.
and then nourishment can also be like, what am I listening to? What am I, you know, what do I have around me? I always buy flowers and set them on the table. They could be $12 from, you know, Trader Joe's
Mhm.
or something. I don't care. But to
Trader Joe's has great flowers.
yes, they do, right?
Yeah.
I know. But like to have something on the table that's beautiful, that's just for me. And I'm not waiting for someone else to do it for me. There's nobody who needs to rescue me. I can certainly afford $12 for flowers for myself. And I like looking at them.
Mhm.
So, you know, coffee, incense, meditation, and flowers. That's like my morning, like happy place. Um, Nourishment and movement. If I get those things right, everything else will follow.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It really is, having a good wellness routine can be simple. It doesn't have to be this crazy thing. And,
Correct.
that you have all these devices. And yes, I love the devices and I love the sauna and the cold plunge and things like that, but you don't have to have all that, right? It can be very, very simple.
Yes. Like I think that a lot of times what I see on social media and online is you need this thing and this thing and this thing. And this goes back to that idea of simplicity. I
Yeah.
mean, what is my aim? Like, what am I trying to achieve here? All of that stuff is perhaps lovely. And yeah, it might make you feel better or look better or whatever, perform better in some cases. But like, if my goal for myself is just balance, if my intention is to live a balanced life, to find peace and happiness and contentment without the delusions of the mind, like jealousy, like anger, or different types of frustration, then that's all inside me.
Mhm.
That I can't get that in a gadget, you know?
Yeah.
So, so to be able to do that with yourself, for yourself, is like it's like unlocking the next level on Super Mario Brothers or something, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, well, how do I do that without the guided meditation? Guided meditation is wonderful as a beginning point. It's really helping you to focus and to concentrate. I have a blog about this. It's like concentration is a bit different from meditation, the transcendent experience that we want in a meditation. But that doesn't mean that to listen to a yoga nidra uh, meditation before bed, that's a bad thing. No, it's a
Mhm.
great thing. That's going to ease you into a restful night's sleep. And it's certainly better to do that than to like be scrolling on your phone. You know, that's more
Yes.
supportive of a good night's sleep. And we know how important
Start somewhere,
start.
start somewhere. So that's where you would kind of guide somebody, maybe start with like a guided meditation before bed. Start
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay. I
If you
love
have,
that.
especially if you have trouble sleeping, journaling, this is a big part of your life too. Journaling is huge for that same reason that we started with. Where do you give yourself the time and space to reflect, to
Mhm.
audit, to set goals and intentions? If you're just blowing through life, you don't really do that. And some
Mhm.
people say, well, I don't have time for that. And I would say, well, it's just not a priority. I mean, we all have the
Mm.
same number of hours. So even if I just jot down 3 bullet points before bed or right when I wake up or whatever it is, as long as you keep the journal right by your, on a bedside or somewhere close by where it's within reach. I did not plan this, but like my journal is within reach. And this is
Love
like,
it.
oh my God, there's a
She's been through some stuff, that
lot
one.
in here. Yes, it's almost done. So, but to my, it's just, there's so much in there. There's ideas in there, there's aspirations in there, there's reflections, there's emotions. I'm gonna have to burn it, at some point, but
Yeah. Do
a
you
lot
burn
of
them after you're done? Is that what you do? Do you burn them or do you hold on to them? Like
I hold on
I
to
hold
them.
on. Yeah, I do too. I do too. I've never gone back to read one, but I do hold on to them.
Some people say I would be mortified if someone found my journal and started reading it. I said, yeah, well, then just burn it. If you're scared, if that's
Yeah.
what's keeping you from writing things down, don't let it be, right? Or just write it on a sheet of paper and burn it. It's fine. And in fact, that's a really healing practice for a lot of people, is to kind of write and burn.
Yeah.
So,
And
um,
release it. Just release it out of there.
yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Sonia, this was so great. I loved our conversation so much. I want you to tell everybody where they can find you. How can they connect? Join the Facebook group.
Yeah. So I feel like everything is kind of on my website. It's sonia-azad.com. I always have to spell my first name, Sonia-azad.com. But on Instagram, it's just at Sonia Azad TV. And on Facebook, it's Sonia Azad Health and Wellness. So yeah, I loved seeing you.
I love seeing you too. And I can't say enough amazing things about your retreats. Like, if anyone is interested, if you are wanting to tap into yourself, to get to know yourself better, what you like, what you don't like that was a big thing when you strip everything away. We were in the mountains of Montana, not a lot of cell service. We were in nature. We weren't, watching TV or we were connecting with each other, connecting with ourselves. And it really brings so much clarity and it brought me so much clarity. And I think from that, kickoff point, I was able to make some interesting decisions about what I wanted to do going forward. And I feel like one retreat a year is a necessary thing for me to do. And I'm so pumped up, so excited
Yeah.
about the next one. I can't wait.
Well, you're a beach girl, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like when you're kicking up sand and the water gets a little murky or, muddy or whatever, and then you let everything settle. That's exactly what's happening at these retreats or in the mind when you meditate even, is you're letting things settle. And of course you gain that clarity that you're seeking. But if you're just flopping around with the sand and in the water, like it's not going to change. So I know that it can seem really scary, but once you've done it one time, you're like, oh, this was great. And you don't miss
Great.
the things that you think you're going to miss because you go back home and they're all still there.
We're all kicking up a lot of sand. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think everyone is kicking up a lot of sand. It's like a perfect analogy. So just let it settle and see what comes up for
What
you,
comes up
right?
for you?
I
Yeah.
love
A
that.
good message.
Yeah, that's a great message to end on. I love that. Sonia Azad, thank you so, so much for
Oh,
being on the
thank
show
you.
today.
I appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of The Cinnamon Effect. If you loved it, share it with somebody you love, and we'll see you next time.